Hello guys, I'm back again, and today I will be covering some of the security aspect about Hadoop, and this is more for a Hadoop admin guy because I will be covering some of the security features and the security thing in Hadoop. Okay, so now this is again a very good book, open source book in Google, which is available, and you can really fetch the link. From the description. I will be also providing with the description, and so in this book it's very much clearly written, and it's very good book. You can follow this. So to jump in the contextual topic, so what is about the Hadoop security? Okay, so Hadoop security basically means that we have some of the things in Hadoop which we need to know about Hadoop being a architecture or Hadoop admin. So there is a concept of CIA, which is known as confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So what is confidentiality? As the name only is itself represents itself, that it basically means that suppose there are two users, Alice and Bob. Okay, so these two users, when they are communicating with each other, okay, nobody else should get the data which the other users is sending, right? Suppose A is sending some data to B, A must be sure that it is sending data to B, right? And B also should be sure that it's coming from A. So identifying itself, it's a big part of confidentiality, and it means basically confidentiality means the secret between the only respective users communication, something like that. And the integrity means that the data which is being communicated between two users, that data is not corrupted. That data is exactly the same data which the user intends to send to the other user, right? That's the integrity of data, how much the data is truthful. Okay, it's kind of integrity. And the availability is means suppose the user A is sending to user B, so how much time the user A is available, or how much time the user B is available. So it's very much simple, availability. So this is the CIA, which I just spoke you about in the brief thing, which has already been written over here, and this is again a very good book. And now coming to this fundamental concept of authentication, authorization, and accounting. This thing is known as AAA. Authentication basically means, which I told about the confidentiality, that the user must identify itself. Okay, every user should have a particular identity. Okay, so that suppose you have a group of friends, so how you know which friend is whom? There is typical name of your friend, Amit, Rahul, Sneha, or whoever it is. Okay, you know the names of your friend by their name, so that's basically giving identity to that person. So similarly for authentication, you need to have the identity of particular service, particular user, particular framework. The concept is same. The concept is same of identification, be it be user, be it be principal, be it be something else. So those things we will be dive into later. For now, just understand it as a user. And then the concept of authorization is that how much power does that user have, how much power I will be giving that user. Like it can go to this directory, and no, it cannot go to this directory, or this user can run this job, or this user cannot do this work, or whatever like that. You give the permissions and the authorization by defining the policies in your SDFS cluster. And for defining these policies, basically has two framework known as, one is Apache Ranger, one is Apache Sentry. So both are being used by Hortonworks, Cloudera, and other maybe they will be used in future. So the thing is basically this define the policies for the authorization of the users. This name is very much itself, it clarifies the thing. Authorization, how much is supposed to author it. Okay, what's the boundary of its authorization? Okay, and then the third is accounting. Accounting basically typically stands for like the auditing of which user came to where and how, why it was denied permission, and etc. Okay, so this authentication, typically for understanding Hadoop, we have to first understand the typical security framework of a simple Linux user. And that simple Linux user basically stores always password in etc password file, which I will just highlight it over here. This is the etc password file where it highlights, it stores all the password for a typical user. There is another concept of LDAP or AD. If you guys are familiar, don't worry if you are not familiar, I will be going to cover those in upcoming lectures. So in those kind of framework, when the user is getting connected with those kind of LDAP and AD protocol, then the passwords are not saved in this etc password file. It is being stored in somewhere else. And how does that work? That is something else. For a simple Linux server which is not having AD or LDAP, basically uses this setup, and this path etc password file is being used to store all the password. Okay, so what we do in this given example, we first SSH with this user credentials and this hostname, and then you put the password which must be similar to this password which is in the password file. It then gives the permission to have this prompt with this user, and then you run this command sudo service SSH status, which shows that okay, OpenSSH is running. But the concept here is, the focus point of in this thing is why we use sudo. Okay, sudo, if suppose there is another example below over here, if suppose we run sudo and it's working, that means this particular user is there in sudo's file. That's the key point. Okay, and if this command is failing due to some reason, suppose in the below example, so this is the example, this example for where I tried to sudo service SSH status for the Bob users, it throws some error, and this error is because Bob is not there in the sudo's file. Okay, Bob is not there on the sudo's file. That's the point over here. Okay, so the thing is, that's the problem. That means if you want to use sudo command, then you need to have sudoers. You need to be sudoers, and this sudoers file is located in etc sudoers file, as you can see. Okay, and also this etc group file basically consists of all the group which is like having some kind of permissions. For example, if we go to cat etc sudo file, we see this configuration. Okay, and where root is having all the privileged tool under sudo command, and where this %wheel means this wheel group is having permission to execute sudo command with no password at all, and that must be the implied logic that Alice must be the user of this wheel group. That's why it was not being asked for the password while Bob was not. Okay, and we can verify this by going to etc group file, and we see that etc group file has Alice under wheel group. So that's the basic login thing which is going in Linux, and this is very much similar to Hadoop also, and this we will come in details in later videos. So for now, what I will be doing is basically what I told. There was AAA concept. One is authorization, first one is authentication, the second is authorization, and third one is auditing. So the authentication is basically handled by something known as Kerberos. Okay, that's the thing which is handled by this Kerberos over here. This is handled by Kerberos authentication, and after authentication we have something to define as authorization by using Apache Sentry or Apache Ranger, okay, as I told you before. And for auditing, this all the things are being audited automatically when you use this Hadoop framework like Sentry and Ranger to define policies and for the authorization purpose. And the thing is that when like you what kind of auditing it does. It does kind of auditing. I will show you in a simple example how does it perform in Linux. When you go in Linux /var/log/secure, then it tells all the details like who tried to do SSH in which server, and if it was accepted password, that means it was allowed, and Bob, it was not allowed in sudoers because Bob was not allowed because it was not in sudoers list. All those type of info was in var log secure. So this basically keeps track of all the logging files of the user authentication and user authorization. So this thing you will be getting in auditing. Okay, that's why the AAA concept comes from: authentication, authorization, and auditing. So I will be covering the next things in a couple of lectures. Hopefully, I believe that this video cleared some of the insight into Hadoop and the basic Linux administration system. If you guys really love this video, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and please leave me a feedback in comments so that I can improve my video in coming days. Thank you so much. Bye bye.